Hey guys, Kathy Richards, RD, hopping on. So I wanted to hop on today and quickly talk about a blog post that I just published this morning about portion control and why at some points it's going to be important to measure food intake. So if you've been following me recently, I'm talking more about getting back to intuitive eating, listening to those hunger cues on when to eat, how much to eat, and think about like why you're eating and what you want to eat. But why then would I go back and talk about portion control? Like, what does that have to do with intuitive eating? So what the goal of talking to you about measuring food intake is to get you to think and to get you to maybe realize that maybe because you've been restricting food intake for so long, you don't know what a reasonable intake would be. Or because we've been eating in fast food worlds and worlds where portion sizes are gigantic, then we don't always have an idea of what a true portion size looks like. So the goal is to get you eating a portion that makes you feel full and gives you the satiety that you want, gives you the energy that you want, and keeps you going, right? So it's trying to figure out what that looks like for you. And if you take a look at my blog post, it's at kathyrichardsrd.com, I'm walking you through why I sometimes get people to go back and use a scale to measure their food. Obviously, if you're going to make a recipe, sometimes that's where you'll start to make sure you've got the right balance of things to get the best taste and the best outcome from your recipe. But there's also something that we've noticed over years called portion distortion. So whereas we might start out eating smaller portions, feeling satisfied, getting satiety, over time it may creep up, and it may be, from societal cues that you've increased your portion sizes. It may be eating with other people. I quite often see when I go back home, for example, my food intake will increase. It will change. It's kind of like I revert back to how I ate, before I moved out on my own, because that's what I grew up with, right? So it's trying to get an idea of what a true portion is, figuring out how that feels in your body, if it gives you enough energy. And the basis for most of the clients that I work with, I'm going to go back to making sure you've got that protein, that fat, and that carbohydrate in the right balance, that PFC approach, and that you're eating consistently to keep the energy up. So if you have no idea where your portion should be, take a look at that blog post that I put out today. And if you want some help and you want to see what that PFC balance is and how you can start with that, reach out to me. You can book a free 30-minute call, and I'm happy to walk you through that. I've had clients lose, 46 pounds just by going to that portion size. But the goal ultimately is not to focus on weight loss, is focusing on eating in response to what our body needs, getting away from restrictive diets and the diet culture, and building a foundation from there. So if intuitive eating, or if you're an emotional eater and you want some help with that, stay tuned. I've got something coming up, so keep watching my space and you'll see announcements coming about that. My podcast, the next 10 episodes are going to be walking you through the intuitive eating workbook that is put out by Evelyn Tribal and Elise Rush, and I might be saying their names wrong, but that's got lots of research behind it, and it's getting you back to how it feels to eat when you're eating in response to the body's natural hunger cues. Okay, so stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, reach out to me, and I hope that you guys have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for watching.